Sure, abuti honestly.
No, thank you very much, House Chairperson. Let's take this opportunity to appreciate the opportunity given to us. As I rise to present the report on Portfolio Committee on Higher Education and Training, following our oversight visit to PSET institutions in the Northwestern Gauteng provinces from the 27th to the 31st of January 2025. The oversight visit sought to assess the state of readiness of PSET institutions in these two provinces, focusing on enrollment processes, funding for new and returning students, student accommodation provisions, amongst other imperatives. The committee found commendable efforts, such as at the Northwest University, where new facilities now house campus protection services and responds decisively to gender-based violence, and at Vuselela Tibet College, despite student frustration with a slow registration process, progress in NSFAS application processing was noted. At Orbit Tibet College, which stood out with its artificial intelligence exhibition hall and an award-winning smart home innovation designed for the deaf, demonstrating the real potential of student-led innovation. Notwithstanding these positive strides, several challenges were also noted, such as the shortage of accredited student accommodation, which exacerbated by the delays in inclusions of some institutions in the NSFAS accommodation pilot, aging infrastructure, strained relationship between organized labor and management in some institutions, and governance issues, such as the disclaimer audit opinion at Taleto Tibet College, which highlight the need for urgent reform. To this end, the committee has made critical recommendations, such as the immediate implementation of the central application system, strengthened communication between NSFAS and institutions, enhanced infrastructure maintenance, programs that leverage student capabilities, a review of the defunding of NSFAS-funded students during the academic year. House Chair, education remains a fundamental pillar for eradicating our nation's persistent poverty, inequality, and unemployment challenges. Thus, we must make a concerted effort to not only expand the PSET sector, but enhance its quality, relevance, innovation, and ability to drive sustainable development and socio-economic transformation. It is in this regard that I tabled this report for consideration and adoption. Thank you very much, House Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. We will now proceed to Honorable Masego.
Thank you very much, House Chair. House Chair, the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education and Training saw a skew scenario following our oversight visit to institutions of higher learning and training in the provinces of Northwest and Gauteng that we conducted from the 27th to the 31st of January 2025. Our visit focused on assessing the readiness of institutions for the 2025 academic year and engaging on matters related to governance, teaching and learning, infrastructure, and student support. The institutions we visited included Northwest University, Tshwane University of Technology, Vuselela, Taleto, and Orbit Tibet colleges, as well as the Northwest CET College. Honorable members, we commend institutions for being ready to commence the academic year. However, serious challenges continue to impede progress in the sector, and this include ongoing delays in NSFAS disbursements, with the direct payment system providing ineffective and frustrating both institutions and students. Many students, particularly those classified as the missing middle, remain excluded from accessing higher education due to financial constraints. Infrastructure backlogs persist, especially in TVET colleges. We saw residences that are poorly maintained, posing health and safety risks. Some institutions lack proper classrooms, workshops, and even Wi-Fi, while others rely on outdated equipment. Student accommodation shortages remain a crisis. Students are often forced to travel long distances or live in unsafe off-campus housing. Staffing instability caused by lengthy acting appointments and unfilled vacancies undermines effective teaching and leadership. Blended learning and overcrowded classrooms continue to challenge academic success and contribute to dropout rates, which are largely due to financial hardships. We are especially concerned by the condition of the community education and training sector. These institutions are under-resourced, lack infrastructure, and rely on shared school facilities. This not only limits operational autonomy, but also erodes the dignity of adult and out-of-school learners. House Chair, our committee calls for the following: urgent intervention in TVET and CET sectors, including increased funding, infrastructure development, and a review of the CET model. A comprehensive review of NSFAS operations, especially the pilot payment system and funding criteria for the missing middle. Innovative funding mechanisms for infrastructure expansions, especially for student housing and digital connectivity. A coordinated national strategy to support TVET and CET institutions are engines for economic transformation, particularly in artisan development. Review of legislative framework to address system governance, funding, and accountability issues in the post-school education and training sector. Honorable members, the future of our country lies in the accessibility and functionality and creditability of our education system. We cannot delay in acting decisively. We must support our institutions so they can, in turn, support our learners and our economy. Democratic Alliance support this report. I thank you, House Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Let's proceed to the MK. There is no member that is listed here.
No, thank you very much, House Chair. This is Honorable Msezane, House Chairperson, people of South Africa, revolutionary greetings. This country's higher education system is in serious trouble, and the ones that are suffering the most are the poor and the working class students who rely on it for a better future. During the oversight visit to the universities and TVET colleges in the Northwest and Gauteng, what we witnessed was not readiness, it was chaos. Students stood in long queues for hours because of a broken registration system and poor communication. Many had applied on time, but still did not know whether they were accepted. Some traveled across provinces just to be told to go back home. The biggest contributor to this crisis is NSFAS, a scheme that was meant to open doors, but now shuts them. In the recent NSFAS oversight meeting in Parliament, officials could not even explain how funding decisions are made and why so many students are defunded mid-year without any alternative funding. Appeals go unprocessed for many months, allowances are delayed, exposing students to criminality and inhumane conditions. Thousands of students are forced to drop out. If NSFAS cannot account to Parliament, it certainly cannot account to the students. Student accommodation in the TVET sector are falling apart, with certain colleges housing students in private accommodation that is not credited by NSFAS or monitored by institutions, in particular in the Northwest province. Some have no clean water, no security, and as I've said above, infrastructure is falling apart. The institutions, particularly TVET colleges in the Northwest, had no textbooks or timeline of arrival, yet classes had already commenced. In Taung, a student was murdered in a crime-ridden area where students are forced to live because of lack of proper housing of students. This is not just neglect, it is an endangerment of students. We observed in colleges like Teletso receiving their disclaimer audits, the worst possible outcome, while accusations of corruption, mismanagement, and irregular appointments fly around without any consequence. The CT College in the Northwest is trying to serve a whole province with only 8 staff in their head office. Infrastructure is crumbling and the support is almost non-existent. House Chair, this is a national emergency. There is serious maladministration, collapse of governance, and corruption takes place without any officials being held to account. This is simply because the Minister of Higher Education and Training has failed to fill critical executive positions. Across the TVET sector, there are at least 13 out of 50 TVET colleges with acting principals. Mindless to say that when acting principals are in office, they are rotated at 6 months basis across the vacant positions. And there's even more acting deputy principals across the sector. It also should be noted that these responsibilities of acting are not paid for. The system is collapsing under the weight of poor leadership, underfunding, corruption, and complete disconnect between policy and reality. As the MK Party, we do not only highlight problems, but we also propose solutions. We call for a full overhaul of NSFAS, replacing the current system with a transparent, efficient, student-centered funding model that includes real-time communication, better appeals processing, and oversight. An emergency infrastructure fund for TVET colleges in the main and universities to fix student accommodation, lecture halls, and essential facilities, especially in the rural campuses. We call for campus clinics to be put in place in the TVET sector. A national housing plan that enforces decent accommodation and safety standards, a strong accountability and forensic audits in institutions with repeated financial mismanagement, including criminal consequences when necessary. A higher education task team to be focused on and monitor student experience,
Honorable
staff conditions, and mismanagement
Honorable
performance.
Msezana,
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
your time has expired.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. As a parting shot, as the MK Party, we will not watch while this failing government continues to fail students in our watch. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The EFF, there's no speaker that is listed here.
No, I will take it. Thank you, Chair. The
Okay, Honorable
Economic
Lonzi.
Freedom Fighters notes the report on the oversight visits of the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education, Northwest University, Vuselela, Daletso, Orbit TVET College, CET College in the Northwest, Tshwane University of Technology. What is clear from this report, Chair, is what we as the Economic Freedom Fighters have been saying all along. Corruption and maladministration have become embedded in the institutions meant to serve the educational needs of our people. The National Student Financial Aid Scheme, TVET colleges, universities, now the SETAs. But today we speak not only of these challenges, we equally speak of victory. The tireless efforts of the EFF inside and outside of Parliament have started to bear fruit. Through fearless oversight, relentless exposure of wrongdoing, and consistent pressure for accountability, we have forced the system to confront its rot and correct the wrongs. We have led campaigns that brought the crisis at NSFAS into public spotlight, exposing the disastrous implementation of the direct payment system, mismanagement of student data, and financial irregularities that left thousands of students stranded and homeless. Because of our intervention, structural reforms are now unavoidable. At TVET colleges, where infrastructure crumbles and management is often complicit in mismanagement, we have insisted unapologetically on student representation, better conditions, and functional accountability systems. This is not the end, Chair. It is only the beginning. Our victory is not merely in uncovering corruption, but equally in building an education system that serves the children of the working class and the poor with dignity, integrity, and fairness. In closing, we must thank the EFF for confronting the illegal and undue process in the appointment of chairpersons of SETA boards, even when an illegitimate and unethical portfolio committee chairperson tried to silence us by removing us from Parliament. We defeated him because the process was scrapped and is now reopened. We make a simple plea to the minister. If indeed she has nothing to hide, if indeed she doesn't want to continue with the looting and corruption in the SETAs, let the interviews of SETA board chairpersons be made public. These people are going to be presiding over close to 26 billion rands of public money. These billions are meant for skills development. The public deserves to know who are these individuals who are going to be presiding over this budget? We're tired of the stealing of money meant for young people, putting family members, putting girlfriends, putting children, putting ANC comrades. Make the interviews public, Minister, so that the people of South Africa can see, so that the youth of this country can see who is going to preside over our 26 billion rand of public funds, who is going to preside over skills development in South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. We'll proceed to Honorable Zondo.
Thanks, Chairperson. Institutions of higher learning remains essential to South Africa's development as a public goods, and they must be protected, supported, and equitably resourced. In the democracy of South Africa, all institutions must receive the necessary support to fulfill their role in upskilling and empowering citizens. The IFP remains deeply concerned with the shortage of student accommodation, the maladministration, the corruption that is happening in these local sector institutions, and the consequences that is not being given to those who are perpetrators of the corruption and maladministration. We have repeatedly highlighted the difficult and often inhumane condition many students face, which are not conducive to academic success. And as far as the Department of Higher Education and the Portfolio Committee, working in cooperation with the private sector, must ensure that
Honorable Zondo, I think we have lost you. I'm not sure if all honorable members can still hear Honorable Zondo.
No,
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
And we told you about this thing of meeting here.
He's in order.
Honorable Zondo, we have lost you.
Honorable Zondo left the platform, Chair.
Or maybe it's the issue of network. Okay, let's move on to Honorable Sauls and we'll come back to Honorable Zondo. Honorable Sauls.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Thank you, Honorable Chair. We note and support the oversight report as tabled. We would further like to emphasize that reports of this nature should speak directly and no longer just indirectly to the current unpatriotic trend in our institutions of higher learning, where foreign nationals are being preferred for employment over and above South African citizens by birth, resulting in qualified South African academics being jobless and or stagnant in junior positions. For example, at the Northwest University, there are cases like a South African-born professor, Elizabeth Smith, who was allegedly replaced in a managerial post by Mr. Dube, a 34-year-old male foreign national born in Zimbabwe, and allegedly denied a deputy dean position in favor of Nigerian-born male Professor Use, despite her qualifications and over 20 years' experience. The greater evil is that this is done by our own to our own. Piramalachim. It must stop. Ons baizane, ons muni baizane. We should not fear being considered xenophobic because we know deep in our hearts that we are actually patriotic. We must put South Africans first. Goedes moet balance. I repeat, Honorable Chair, the issue is not that they are merely foreign nationals. We do not hate our fellow African brothers and sisters. We hate the systematic denial of qualified South Africans from enjoying their birthright to jobs and opportunities in the public sector and specifically in our institutions of higher learning. Die goedes moet balance. Salute, Honorable Chair. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Zondo, you will alert us when you are back, but we'll move on to Honorable Boshoff.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think if one looks at any report on higher education, You can nearly just fill in the places and the specific institutions. There will be some problems with governance. There will be problems with student accommodation. There will be problems with NSFAS payments. There will be a chance of violence because of the lack or the lateness of NSFAS payments. Universities generally perform better, but not always. TVETs generally perform less well, but not always. And CETs struggle to get off the ground because of budgetary constraints. Furthermore, it will seem as if budget is tilted towards universities and not towards TVET colleges, although it is a good thing that the report also states that NSFAS payments for students for the stipends will be equal between the two types of students, of course, who have similar living expenses, just different study directions. Now, this is what we have with the oversight visit in Gauteng and Northwest, looking at the Northwest University, which is quite well run. The Tshwane South College, which is also relatively well run, and more problems with some of the other colleges, Parktown and also the Orbit College. I think it is important that the whole NSFAS problem should be solved. NSFAS is not equipped for what it has to do. It does not have the ICT. It does not have the human capacity to do what it should. And this is a running disaster which should be solved. And we have had some suggestions in that regard. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Action SA. There's no speaker that is listed.
Thank you, House Chair. I'll be speaking on that. My greetings outstretched to the House at large and the rest of South Africa that's joining us on the online platform. House Chair, the Portfolio Committee's Oversight report on the readiness of post-school education and training highlights real concerns about the sector. We appreciate the progress some institutions have made, but remain deeply concerned about ongoing systemic issues that continue to block student access and undermine performance. It's encouraging to see innovation at institutions like Orbit and Tshwane University of Technology, where AI and entrepreneurship hubs are being used to promote skills development and open up economic opportunities. Northwest University's step towards launching the province's first medical school also deserve recognition as a major milestone. But these highlights can't hide the serious problems still affecting the sector. Daleto TVET College, for example, received a disclaimer audit opinion raising serious red flags about governance and financial accountability. Across many TVET colleges, the same challenges keep coming up. Too few beds in student accommodation, delayed NSFAS payments, and crumbling infrastructure. Tragically, these failures have real-life consequences, like the recent death of a Vuselela student living in unsafe private accommodation. At TUT, broken labor relations, deteriorating facilities, and the defunding of over 1,000 NSFAS students in 2024 signal a worrying collapse in administration that puts students' futures at risk. While the closure of TUTE, an institution that clearly failed, is a step in the right direction, it's not nearly enough. We support the committee's recommendations, particularly those aimed at fixing infrastructure, improving NSFAS systems, and strengthening engagement with all stakeholders. Action SA endorses this report, but we also call for urgent and bold reforms. The students in our PSET system deserve better, and they must not be failed by a system that is meant to empower them. Thank you, House Chair.
Thank you.
Sure, I would do honestly.